Monday morning of May the 17th should have been peaceful, with most of the tourists gone for the summer. Palm Springs' retired residents were settling in for just another lazy weekend. That was until 10:52 a.m. when a massive explosion tore apart this quiet resort city. Once the dust cleared, the magnitude of the damage soon became very clear. A fertility clinic had been completely destroyed, and first responders were struggling to figure out how many people had been hurt. The initial investigation quickly traced the source of the damage to a silver sedan which had been parked just outside, but other than that, they were just in the dark. Little did they know that the tragedy had been months, if not years, in the making. This hadn't begun on the dark web or in a training camp in the Middle East. Instead, this homegrown act of violence had its roots in a website called Reddit. Most people already know Reddit as the self-proclaimed front page of the internet. While it's always different every day, it rarely actually changes. But behind the cat videos and the memes, Reddit is hiding a whole world of twisted communities full of disturbed individuals. And today we're going to be looking at how Reddit is making more and more of these monsters. And to do so...
It sounds like my sort of place, actually. Because I'm terminally online and I'm a disturbed individual and I'm a loser, so I tick all the boxes for the Reddit, the most degenerate Reddit user. I tick all those boxes, even though, yeah, I also stutter, so yeah, I'm a weirdo too. So just like the average Reddit user, that's me. I should sign up to Reddit. This video made me realise that.
We're going to be taking a look at 5 of the most weird and disturbing communities on Reddit, until we find out which one was behind the tragedy in Palm Springs.
Ah, the Thatcher's Farm. Friday, 12:30, tasting time.
I don't care about Thatcher.
While our first community is probably more sad than disturbing, it really gives us an insight into how these kinds of subreddits work. The Short Guys subreddit is what it sounds like, a place for short men to discuss their experiences in life. On the other hand, it seems perfectly normal for men to vent about this online.
I cannot relate to these people because I'm not a short guy. I'm 5'10", I think, and I'm getting fatter by the day. Yeah, I've gone from 8 stone to 11 stone, so I think I'm putting on weight a little bit, and I'm starting to have some man boobs and a big ass belly, and I'm starting to like not see my penis when I go for a piss. So yeah, but at least I have the tallness. I just no longer have the athletic body that I once did a few months back, and now I'm starting to see my gut a little bit. So when people say that I can't get fat because it took me longer to get fat, it's not that I can't get fat, it's that my metabolism didn't change all my life until like just recently.
They claim it's undeniable that height plays a role in how people are perceived, and it's generally much harsher for men. And while it doesn't matter to all women, there's a reason that Tinder has been trialing a height filter for premium users. But there's venting about getting dealt a worse hand in life, and then there's the Short Guys subreddit, as they've made this entire
4'10". That's not that short. Like, I'm 5'10", so I'm like 10 feet like taller than you, but 4'10" isn't that short, I don't think. And I'm 11 stone, so I don't know what 85 libs is because I go by stones. But yeah, nah, 4'10" is a reasonable height to be. Like I'm 5'10", but that's only like 10 feet away from you, so I don't know why people judge heights, to be honest. They're weird. It's something that we can't change, but it's like they will judge my penis size. It's something that I can't change about myself, but they don't want it inside them because of how small it is. They only want the big daddy dicks inside them, and it's like, bruh, why does my tiny penis not get any love? Cruel world out there. They judge the smallest things, bro. Your height. If you're small, they judge you. If you're small down there, they judge you. If you're small on the arms, they judge you. Like, cruel world out there, man. I might have to go to the small penis subreddit and vent on there like these short kings are doing on here.
I think their whole identity. both of the first top 2 posts from the past year summarize just how
failed Sui attempt took 1,500 megagrams or micrograms, one of those two, of degenerate and about 250 of an alcoholic drink. Oh yeah, mixing pills with drinks is called a deadly cocktail, so I don't know how you're still alive, little bro. Hello friends, I'm back after taking a break and an unsuccessful Sui attempt. So this guy just tries to off himself at once every like 10 months, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, don't know what's going on in his life, but you should stay here, man. Life isn't too bad, just got a few arseholes out there, but it's best to be aware than to cease to exist, in my opinion, because of the fear of missing out. I can't do this because I have a real big fear of missing out, and I'm scared when I do die that I'm going to miss out on future things, like what happens in the future, maybe World War III. Maybe I'll miss that because it's so far ahead in the future that I will no longer be here at the time of World War III. You never know. I want to see that event because it's something new to me, bro. But knowing that I'm going to leave the world behind one day and never see the future pains me, man. But yeah, stay here, it's much better. And obviously you don't really need to put in all that effort just to die, because your body's going to break down and die anyway. So live life like it's your last. Live your PC's life like it's that's last. Live your laptop's life like it's that's last. Live your tablet's life like it's that's last. And live your console's life like it's that's last. Do you know what I mean? Meaning, like, anything can cease to exist. Your PC can cease to exist via breaking. Your laptop can cease to exist via breaking. Your tablet can cease to exist via breaking. Your console can cease to exist via breaking. You don't need to put effort to killing something, because that thing will eventually break down and kill itself. You know what I mean?
Negative their mentality is. We can't even talk about what they're suggesting. Another top post implies that being tall is all you need in life.
Hey, it's Claude.
If you aren't tall, you need to be what they think is perfect.
What's this? Have a perfect physique. No, I don't have that. Have a Chad jawline. I don't think I have that. But maybe I do. I think that's subjective. Don't be ethnic. What the fuck does that mean? Have a minimum income of 100k. Oh, I'm cooked already. So I'm not a Chad. Be confident. Oh, I'm not confident. I'm far from confident. Like, I am socially awkward and I have anxiety and all that. So, yeah. Because of autism, it makes you social anxious. For some people, not all people, because every autism is like different in other people. But yeah, I think I'm socially awkward because of autism, though I'm one of those kind of on that kind of spectrum of autism. But some people can be confident, outspoken, and still be autistic. So it's not something that's in all individuals that are autistic. It's in only a few of them, and I have the social awkward and social and anxious part of autism and bipolar, because anxiety comes from my bipolar, not my autism. Dress in expensive clothing. What do you need to do that for, bro? Like, I could be a millionaire and I'd still be rocking my fucking chavvy clothes. At the moment, I'm rocking like jogging trousers, sandals, and no t-shirt on because it's hot as balls in here. Hope that any woman will settle for you because she can't find a taller version of yourself to commit to a long-term relationship. Or just be asexual, because pussy is disgusting to me. I don't mind penis, but pussy, disgusting, but I don't find men attractive. So put 2 and 2 together, that equals that I'm asexual. And I'm not a sexual deviant. Before you say asexual, what? Ha ha ha. Like, asexual means that I don't find anybody attractive, and I don't have an attraction to that person, and I don't want any sex. I can do it by myself via masturbation. I almost said masturbation. Like, what, like mashed potatoes? My friggin' brain is on mashed potatoes today, I don't know why. Exist. Okay. I'm existing. I'm listening to your advice. Don't be a offender or a woman beater. Both option. How is that optional? Just be a good person. It's not that optional. It's literally, actually, it's kind of optional because there's bad people out there. But like, just be a good person. Why does that even have to be on your list? That makes you kind of a weirdo. Like, holy shit, bro. Yeah, that's just common sense. Don't be a offender and don't be a beater unless you're beating yourself. So yeah.
Another way, even then, you still will never be able to compete. This just gives you an idea of how self-defeating and horribly nihilistic this mentality in the community is. It's all reinforcing one idea that people who aren't over 6 feet have no reason to even try in life, which is absolutely insane. Getting deeper into the subreddit and reading all these daily posts highlights the effects of this kind of reinforcement. One user writes that he basically got called a creep for entering the staff break room. The post doesn't go into much detail on the actual story, but the second half does tell us what it meant to the user, echoing the ideas that the more popular posts hint at. Quote, if you're 5'5" like me and sub 5, your very existence is an affront to girls everywhere. It's ridiculous how innate and pure their hatred of short guys are. It must be written into their DNA to automatically despise short guys. If you're short, nothing you do will ever be right. And if you're tall, you can do no wrong. In the comments, other users agree with him.
That's just like, if you're attractive, you can do no wrong either. So yeah, I relate with this, but I'm not a short guy, so I can't join this subreddit because 5'10" is not that short. It's damn near like 6 feet, but just not quite there. Like, I stopped growing just before 6 feet, and I'm like, damn it! I could have had a bigger penis if I got to 6 foot. God damn it.
And the resentment just oozes out. One commenter writes, this is why you stay away from women unless it's escorts. Another said,
hey, he's onto something. He's not wrong, I don't think. He's onto something.
In a different timeline, I suggest reporting it, but she's female. Who are we kidding? Communities like this want a pure breeding grounds for this kind of resentment. Unlike some of the other ones we'll discuss later down the line, Short Guys has a kernel of truth at its core, as it's pretty clear that the users do face problems in their day-to-day lives because of their height, and they just see the entire West in a huge dating crisis, where the top percentile of men are taking all of the women, leaving them without any companionship and love, the fundamentals of a good life. So why even try? Or they just had negative experiences that led to their interest in the sub to begin with. But if they start reading this sort of stuff regularly, and they're subscribed to this community, the constant barrage of negativity makes things seem so much worse. One person venting online gets turned into ammunition for hundreds of thousands of men to direct at themselves and their own self-image. What might have stayed as a small insecurity can take over someone's entire mental state. And once that's happened, it can be a much bigger obstacle to their happiness than their height ever was. While you can see how this community could incite a depressive worldview, it doesn't go as far as encouraging violence. Most of the time, the rage on show is projected inwards. And this wasn't the culprit in the Palm Springs disaster. But it isn't only the men who have these spaces on Reddit. Resentful and bitter women can also find like-minded people online, specifically on the female dating strategy subreddit. Today the community is a husk of its former self.
Another subreddit I can't join because I'm not female, or at least I wasn't the last time that I checked.
Used to have thousands of active users, now it's just some mod posting podcast links every week or so. But how did the subreddit with over
Nobody wants to hear your podcast, little woman. Or little sis.
Quarter of a million users become so deserted? Well, as you'll find out, the community became such a toxic echo chamber that it outgrew the limit of what Reddit would put up with. But before this was abandoned, female dating strategy was advertised as a subreddit for women in the dating world. Unfortunately for any women actually looking for help though, it never really gave them actual tips. Instead of actual help or advice.
What was that?
That's the perfect serve.
Stella Artois, it's an alright beer. It's not my first choice beer. I like Budweiser more.
The majority of posts on the forum were about their problems with men instead. Pretty soon the advice on the subreddit became that you deserve everything you could ever want in a man. If men don't accept you as you are, then you aren't worth anything anyway. The prejudice was codified and transformed into a whole ideology, with its own buzz terms. You didn't talk about men on the subreddit anymore. Instead they started calling them scrotes. Users on the subreddit also put men in two categories, high value and low value. So what makes a high value man? Well, it's hard for
somebody with tons of money by the look of it.
Pin down exactly. When someone asked them that question, this was the response they got. According to the top voter reply, a high value man is
a high value man is respectful, loyal and faithful. Me?
Respectful, loyal
That's
and
me.
Faithful. They pay for dates as well as
a given man that pays for date. Not me. Put your hand down, mate.
As the rest of the relationship's costs.
A man that is oh, that's definitely not me. I'm cooked.
They're confident, reliable, they listen, they make lots of money while still spending all of their time with you. They appreciate.
How can they spend all their time with you but at the same time make lots of money? That doesn't come hand in hand. Either their work needs them or you need them. You both can't share a man because work is so fucking needy. Have you ever worked in a day in your life? That is so fucking needy, especially when you're trying to make good ass money. You'll try to make good ass money through the overtimes, through always being at work, trying to never leave work, but then they push you out the door saying go home, you look tired as fuck, and then you go to sleep, wake up and do it all again in the morning. That's literally how somebody makes a lot of money. You can't have both a man that makes a lot of money and consistently be around you at the same time, because what they're going to do, be a like stay at home person that goes on the internet and becomes a Twitch streamer, which is easier said than done. Like, I don't get these women. And what do you want them to do? Like, be self-employed? That is easier said than done. Be an author? That is easier said than done. I know from experience, because I've recently been trying to become an author and I still get no sales on my books. So yeah, they might need to be away from you for a extended period of time while they're going to make their money and get their bread up so they can live their life and share with you as well. A man that listens to what you say and tries his best to do as you asked. I get the listen to what you say part, but his best to do as you asked. You're relying on this guy to make a lot of money while you kick your feet up at home, and you want to be his boss as well, bro. Just join his company if you want to always be around him and boss him around, because that's literally what a manager is. It's some jackass that sits on their ass in their office ordering employees to do the job while they do nothing and get paid more than them. You know what I mean? A man with a good sustainable job. So you want a man that's always around you and have a sustainable job at the same time. Bro, like, what is this requirement, man? He can't always be around you and have a good sustainable job at the same time. He has to be always at work, because that's what a good sustainable job is someone that's always working. A man that appreciates you and shows you that he loves you. I think that's everybody's wish in life. I want people around me that's going to appreciate my presence, and that's going to value me as a human fucking being and not how much money that I make, which is $0, 0 cents, £0, 0 cents, 0 euros, 0 cents, 0 Canadian dollars, 0 cents, 0 Australian dollars, 0 cents, 0 New Zealand dollars, 0 cents. I literally make no money and I get no bitches.
You, and they're obviously going to be conventionally attractive as well. This is just the beginning of their
A responsible man that keeps his word. I keep my word.
demands, and you...
A man that takes care of his body, his face, and his physical appearance. I'm cooked on that one too. A man that cares about your sex and goes down on you, bro. Like, I can tell you right now that these Reddit women don't wash down there, so why are they expecting him to go down there and smell the fish and taste the fish? Like, Jesus Christ, man. And I can tell these women are probably fat as fuck and unattractive just like me.
You can bet there are a whole lot more that they're not mentioning. If you're just missing even one, then you're a low-value man. Low-value man...
I am a low-valued man. Don't need a list to tell me that. I know that internally.
And aren't worth dating according to the users on the subreddit. They aren't even worth acknowledging.
What is not a high-value man? A man who asks, but what about men? Whenever you bring up women's issues or women's shelters, organisations. I can respect that. I don't really say, but what about men? I normally join them on the women's issue or women's shelters and organisations conversation. I don't really say, oh, but what about men, bruh? Men have it so hard. You have requirements for me to make bank, and if I don't make bank, you will leave me in a second. So yeah, I don't know why anyone would say, but what about men? If they're trying to be respectable, they would join you in that conversation about women's issues and women's shelters and organisations. A man who purposely waits to text you back just because you didn't get back to him right away. That's me actually. I'm that petty. If I feel ignored or you've seen my message but didn't get back to me until days later, then I'm going to ignore you for more than the day later. I'm going to ignore you for a whole month later and see how you like it. You know what I mean? I keep a grudge because I'm petty like that. These guys often stagger their reply times to pretend like they're not playing games, but it's obvious that they are. What's an issue? Like, we can't text and play games at the same time. We have to focus on one thing at a time. Like, come on now. A guy who believes glitched what the fuck is that word? About women, men that he hears on TV, online. Well, you're actually adhering to all those stereotypes. You want to stay at home like a woman did in the 1960s. You expect the man to make the money, so like you can't expect him to make the money and do what you did back in 1960 and say don't generalize women that he hears on TV, because you're literally adhering to that stereotype. You're keeping that stereotype alive by having those high ass fucking requirements, man, for the high valued man part of this conversation.
The irony and hypocrisy of the subreddit is that the rest of the memes and posts are all about how women shouldn't have to conform to society or men's expectations. They deserve happiness and everything they could ever want from a partner without having to put the work in themselves. Eventually, all of this resentment...
This summer at Betway Casino, spin the wheel for your chance to win a Range Rover.
On the subreddit...
What is it with YouTube advertising me gambling, bro? It's like they want me to go broker than I already am. I have zero anything, bro. You want me to be in the minuses. You want me to be like having to owe money to the casinos, bro. It's not happening. get lost with these fucking casino adverts.
Became so toxic that the community self-imploded. Reddit had left the community alone for years because it matched their left-wing bias, but even they were getting close to shutting this down. So instead, the mods just did it for them, trying to migrate the community to a new website while leaving the old one intact. Now it's just locked down, with one of the old mods posting something every so often to keep anyone else from taking it over, but that's just about it. The Palm Springs disaster didn't come from this community either though. While the perpetrator had resentment and business in common with this community, they weren't known as an active member. So instead, we need to go further to show how Reddit's echo chambers led to such a tragedy. As we get deeper into Reddit's guts, the communities go from bitter and resentful to downright delusional. Welcome to the Talupa subreddit. Now, what actually is a Talupa? While specific definitions vary, the general idea remains the same. Remember when you were little and you had an imaginary friend? Picture creating a new friend in your head, only this time they won't just be imaginary. The users of the Talupa subreddit are convinced they've created entirely separate people who live in their minds. According to them, they're just the hosts. Talupas are completely separate individuals who have their own personalities, desires, preferences, and tastes. Now, the exact details vary from person to person. For some, you can expect that underneath what they say, they know it's all just in their heads. For others, it really seems that they're convinced Talupas are real. Sometimes they'll even post as if it's the Talupa talking. One of the top posts is written as if it's one Talupa sending a message to all the others out there, but it reads though like they're trying to convince themselves more than anyone else. In their post, "You are not imaginary, you are real, and you are valid," Talupa's user Gress the Lexophile goes into excruciating detail. Quote, "In my original now lost post, I focus a lot on that word, imaginary. I focus on how we should distance ourselves from the word, from even using imaginary friends as a desperate attempt to make singlets understand, and how our experience is nothing merely imaginary. And now I feel a strong need to affirm these." Like other echo chambers we've already seen, they're creating new words to talk about people outside of the community. In this case, people without Talupas are called singlets. The post continues with more of the same and ends with the lines, "We are not imaginary, we are real, we are valid, and we will continue being so no matter what may come." At this point, you might be thinking that none of this can actually be true. Thousands of people can't possibly believe in all of this. Or maybe you're just jaded enough that you're willing to accept Redditors latching on to absolutely anything.
This part of the video is hurting my brain.
Those were the thoughts of one user. Using a throwaway account, they made a post on the sub asking, "Please don't take offense in this, but are you guys for real? Do you guys seriously feel this way, or are you just one-upping each other when it comes to role-playing?" They didn't get a concrete answer because it varies from person to person, but the top comment reflects this, with a single user writing that, "I know people going back years who have had some form of a Talupa. I noticed different speech patterns, different handwriting, like and dislike of different foods. Here I believe there are some legit people like that person, but I also feel like there are some people who think the idea of having a Talupa is cool and trendy." Others echo this sentiment while also trying to get the original poster to see things their way. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter that lots of people might be role-playing or posting ironically. It's almost certain a proportion of the users aren't in on the joke, and if they can't tell and they buy into this, then eventually what used to be a joke can become a mixture of fact and fiction over time. In the case of Talupas, it might seem pretty harmless. While it might be strange, it doesn't really matter if people have imaginary friends or that they think they are real. However, the sub still reinforces people with serious mental health delusions, which is something that Reddit is full of in 2025. But it's probably not a good enough reason to ban the subreddit. You can't imagine it feeling a kind of Green Goblin situation. And while the perpetrator of Palm Springs was delusional, he wasn't a Talupa's user either. There's a subreddit for everything, and that includes illicit substances. Whilst more of the more popular subreddits on this are focused on prevention, harm reduction, and addiction treatment, those aren't the only communities available. There are also a ton of different subreddits focused on active users. People who don't want to stop and want to talk about their experiences with other active users. Some of these communities can blur the line between helpful and actually harmful, while others are almost certainly enabling addiction. There are some for alcohol, others are for harder substances. One of these focused on a certain white powder that is particularly dangerous, which, for the purposes of the video, we'll call the Content Guidelines subreddit. In their community, lots of the dangers of snorting content are openly acknowledged. People will make posts talking about how expensive it is or how dangerous this can be.
Yeah, I've heard coke is quite expensive nowadays. Yeah, clearly not talking about the drug.
Talk about famous people who've all fallen victim to this, or they'll even tell their own stories of friends and family members who lost their lives to this. But while all of that is going on, the subreddit also normalizes that lifestyle as well. Take this post, one of the top from the past year, where the user has taken a picture from an airport bathroom. You can imagine lots of the community being taken in by the novelty of this, but it's actually incredibly dangerous even compared to regular use. First is getting past airport security and all the potentially life-ruining risks associated with that. That wasn't the only danger. You've got to scroll quite far down the thread on Reddit to see it. Most people who are just reading the title and the picture wouldn't notice a dire warning from a now deleted account. Quote, once the plane reaches cruising altitude, the oxygen available in the air drops from around 21% to about 15%. This doesn't affect healthy people, but if you're putting your arteries and heart through vasoconstriction, then your heart is going to have even less oxygen carried to it through your blood. And a quick Google confirms all of this is true. They even know someone who passed away because of this. He was a long-term user and didn't realize that his arteries were already quite tight. Combine that with the 24-hour lingering effects of his last binge and the reduced oxygen in flight, a fatal heart attack then followed. So other than promoting medically dangerous behavior, the subreddit also gives you a window into what its users' lives are actually like. Another top post from the past year shows a picture of someone using the substance whilst also gambling online at the same time. While some of the comments try to warn him,
that is some crazy fucking multitasking, man. But also, why would you want to do coke anyway? It makes your nose bleed, and as someone that's quite squeamish and doesn't like the sight of blood, I'm good on that. I'd rather take LSD, you know? So, there you go. I wouldn't touch that white powder. I'd touch something less harmful, which is just something that melts on your tongue, I'm pretty sure.
Questions and trying to replicate his experience. The post sums up what this community has become. While it's still enabling and dangerous, the community also has the same vibe as the last hour of the party. Nearly everyone has gone home and left already. The sun is coming up, you can hear the birds outside, and people are already going outside for work. But even as crazy and dangerous as these communities are in 2025 though, this wasn't the one that inspired the act of destruction in Palm Springs. Instead, that story begins with an unlikely candidate, a subreddit called Child Free. So let's dive right in. The first thing you'll notice is that Child Free is the largest community we've talked about so far, with a staggering 1.5 million subscribed users.
Damn!
At first, the community seems harmless. While they don't give much away, the subreddit describes itself as a place for those who do not have and do not want to ever have children. The most popular posts go into detail about the benefits of not having.
That actually might be a subreddit for me, because I would never want children, and I'd never have children at the same time, bro. Because children are annoying, so that's why I would never want to become a parent. And also, like I said before, I'm not a big fan of vaginas. Yeah, they just feel weird on my ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-long. And also, I'm not built for them, obviously, because it's small, so yeah. I'm only built to be an asexual, to be not loved, to not love others, to just jerk off to porn 24/7, like the loser that I am.
Kids. Lots of them are just screenshots of tweets that make jokes about it. Like this one about how much money you can save, or this one about all the free time you can have. For the top
true and true. How much money you can save and all that free time to play Counter-Strike. Lovely.
Post, you've got the same reinforcing memes and Twitter screenshots we've grown to.
I know they don't have a big team, so how are they growing so fast?
Go for Brenda. Okay, quick. Nobody's around, right? You have to tell me how you're growing so fast. I'd get fired if I told you. Come on, my boss is breathing down my neck. Just throw me a bone. Okay, no one's here right now, but keep this between us. We got a ton of help without hiring anyone. It's all in motion. What's motion? Not what. Who? We hired a few of their AI employees to handle the busy work. I've got a sales guy, a social gal, a marketing brain, all AI. They write content, follow up with leads, schedule tasks, even strategize. It's like having a dream team that's on 24/7. There's no way that's real. Oh, it's very real. No drama, no burnout, just output. Motion lets me scale my output without needing to handle the administrative junk delaying my everyday. Okay, I'm hiring one right now. Just don't tell anyone I told you. Don't worry, we'll be beating you by next quarter. Sure, if you're lucky.
Time to stop doing the jobs of 5 people. Hire your first AI employee today and actually grow your business.
Expect. The real juicy posts are found in the day-to-day discussion. Here we see just how
YouTube is literally promoting cheating as a manager.
aggressive and nihilistic the ideology they're pushing really is. One fairly popular post, Key Opinion 1700, poses a cheery question. Our extinction is inevitable, so why are we prolonging it? He continues in the post saying that we're all gonna die and as a species go extinct at some point, and with the way the world is heading, it might be soon. While we're no strangers to pessimism here, they took it a bunch further. This is accepted as scripture in antinatalism that there is absolutely no point in life whatsoever. They think that
there is no point in life whatsoever, to be honest, because, like, hear me out, man. You get born, you go to nursery, you go to school, you go to secondary school or whatever, primary school, you go to college, you get a job that you hate for the rest of your life, and then you die. So yeah, life is pretty pointless.
Having kids makes you responsible for their future suffering. Another post made a day later is titled Birth, a Guaranteed Death Sentence. 2 people in my life recently had kids, the post begins. I physically felt discomfort that they were delighted, even knowing they will die at some point and suffer along the way. Just so weird to me knowing they have kids that will die. These horrible, nihilistic posts are everywhere on the subreddit, and you can imagine the terrible effects reading this every single day would have on your mental health. In fact, you don't even have to imagine it. We've already seen the results. So finally, let's come full circle and get back to the tragedy in Palm Springs. After a massive investigation, the FBI concluded that the explosion had been the work of one guy, Edward Bartkus. On May 17th, Edward had driven the explosive device to a fertility clinic in Palm Springs where IVF embryos were being stored. He succeeded in destroying the clinic, but miraculously nobody else other than the perpetrator lost their lives in the attack. A few people in the clinic or who were nearby at the time of the explosion suffered minor injuries, but that was it. When the FBI got deeper into the case, they found that Edward had been motivated by an anti-life ideology, incredibly similar to the one discussed in antinatalism. In fact, he had gone one step further, posting to and reading a subreddit called Ephilism. Named by reversing the word life to signifying their opposition to it, the Ephilism community was an even more extreme version of antinatalism. They believed that non-existence was preferable to existing, and clearly this laid the foundations for Edward's violent delusions. Other like-minded extremists he had met online had seemingly encouraged him. One even supplied him with the ingredients to make the device, and he has since been
Wait, what's those ingredients? Detonators, of course. Safety fuse, of course. Igniters, of course. Explosive pest control devices, of course. Display fireworks, of course. Black powder, of course. Oil well perforators, don't know what that is. M-type device. So now I know how to make it. Like, why did you put it in the video, idiot?
And he has since been arrested by Polish police and deported to the US. Today, in large part because of Edward's crimes and his connection to the community, it has been banned. But all the other communities that gone into that space are still alive and well, which is why we see Reddit making monsters all the time. Naturally, these other subreddits don't acknowledge the link at all, really. Mentioning it will almost likely get you banned by moderators. And Reddit itself is instrumental in enabling these destructive communities and these deranged Redditors. Especially when they match the overwhelming left-wing bias on the site, they often stick around for years, polluting people's minds. It's only when tragedy strikes that Reddit does the bare minimum. But hopefully our journey today through these disturbing communities will show you what to look out for in the future. While it might seem like you could never fall for them yourself, always beware of groupthink and stay skeptical of these weird niche communities. Denialism is far more dangerous than you could think.
Okay. You think I'm about to watch your advert when the video's over? You got another thing coming to you, buddy.